All right, so we're just meeting today to go over or talk about the observation that was done on the 28th. I think it was Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
And if you will, just talk a little bit about the lesson and what you were teaching that day.
So we're working with Carol now, which is our programming system.
Okay.
We started on Monday with the introduction of Carol, and then as we progress forward, we learn more about Carol. So she's a dog who can do 4 simple commands, or she has 4 program commands, which is move, turn left, put ball, and take ball. And within those 4 functions, you can teach her more tricks, so to say. So as we started with the basics, one of the problems was she can't turn right, but if you make 3 left turns, that's the same as turning right.
Okay.
So we're programming her to do different things within the means that she already know, and just making sure we understand coding is very sensitive, case sensitive, punctuation, spacing, indentation, everything, attention to detail wise matter, and just making sure we have those gists going forward.
Okay. So I heard you say in the lesson that it was a continuation from the day before. So you started Monday.
Yes.
So what did you all cover or address the day before? How far had you all gotten then?
So on Monday, we talked about just the layout. So the first letter or the first word is lowercase, or all one words are lowercase. If it's a 2-word, the first one is lowercase, the second one is uppercase with no space. Talk about parentheses and then our semicolon to execute. So that's where we got, just understanding what is Carol, what's a command, and how you're pretty much telling, in another sense, a dog to do a trick, and it listens to your command. And then we build into it of actually programming a computer in the same way of doing whatever it tells you, and it doesn't do anything else that it don't know or anything that you don't tell it. So
Okay, because I heard you say in that lesson, capitalization is very important. It's one of our
Yes.
most important, Okay, and actually it sounds like it's pretty interesting.
yes.
So have the kids been engaged in the lesson with you? Have they enjoyed it?
Yes. So it's funny because throughout they're very let's say aggravated, and then when they get it and it says done, it's a hip hip parade type deal, and they know it. It's just the attention to detail, the frustration of having to do everything in a particular manner. It's like, dang, why I gotta do all this? Why I gotta do all this? Well, the dog didn't do that. What did you tell the dog to do?
Right.
It's only gonna do what you tell
Exactly.
it. So when they get it, it's like a super celebration, whereas super frustration at the beginning, which is, I guess, a new generation thing,
Okay.
right? But their emotions is there throughout. They enjoy it. Hey, Mr. James, I got it. I did it. I was like, I know, right?
Gotcha.
It did what you tell it to do. As long as you tell it what to do, it do as it says.
So that's a 9th grade class, correct?
Hypothetically, yes.
And that was my question. So the kids that were in the class, that was a mixture of grade levels?
That's my upper level class. So
Okay.
that's second block is more so 10th graders. You have a few 11th graders here and there, and 1 or 2 seniors. My full 9th grade class is my 4th block.
Okay, 10th grade. A few juniors. You said 1 or 2 seniors?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so and I didn't come in. When I came in, you already started the lesson. So how did you begin your lesson?
Well, we usually start with the writing assignment. Gotta write every week just to get, make sure we're fluent there. And then as I'm taking attendance and getting everybody started, that's your time to make up anything from the previous day, submit it, ask any questions on it, and then we transition straight into our bell work, today's assignment, and then activities from there.
So the day that I was in here, what was the assignment for the day? What was the objective of that lesson? That's what I want to know.
All
What
right,
was the
so
lesson's
we
objective?
want to be able to write our codes and then edit, run, and test them, and then fix any errors. So if we say, hey, well, I told Carol to turn left, but she's not moving, what's the error, where's the error, identifying what the yellow highlight means, the red highlight means, anything that's indicating an error and how to fix it. Or if we say, hey, well, the job got done, but it's telling me it's not complete, but did we do it in a specific manner, which is using turn right instead of saying, hey, turn left 3 times, which is the same, it's just not completely completing the test.
Okay. So the standards for your class, your standards, where are those standards coming from?
The state website is Exploring Computer Science.
Okay. All right. So when you start your lesson, do you tell the students, okay, today's standard is whatever you have written up here, and our objective is going to be to XYZ?
Not so much on the standard, but understanding what we're doing.
Okay.
Which is, again, being able to do it, figure out where we went wrong, where we went left, and how to wholeheartedly understand everything.
Okay. So with that lesson, did you feel like the students met the objective of that lesson, that assignment?
Yes.
How do you know?
Because when they say, hey, Coach James, I need help, and I say, I know, by the time I get to them, and it's not a deliberate delay, but they figure it out on their own and they're able to fix it. Or I say, hey, what's wrong? What are we trying to do? And as they hear, well, I'm trying to do this, that, and the third, they can go in, correct it, and then retest and rerun their programs.
Okay. So how do you grade the assignments?
The assignments are graded through CodeHS. And it's based on whatever the requirements are. So if it say, hey, I need a function called this, again, you can get the task done, but if you don't use that proper function or do it in a particular way to meet the expectations, you won't get credit for it.
So there's a rubric for the students, so
Yes.
they know exactly what it is that they're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So does the Code HS grade for you?
Yes and no. So that's where I put in it grades it for you, but I don't have access to the grade book feature of the website.
Okay.
That's where I put in the purchase order request for.
Okay, so but it gives you the kid's grade,
Yes.
and then you take that and put it into Power School
Yes.
yourself. Okay.
Yes.
And so I noticed that day you gave them an exit ticket. The kid was sitting here, he was on an exit ticket, right? So the next day, do you all discuss that at all? How do you grade the exit ticket? How does that work?
So we grade it. I give explanations. So I write out, let's say, because one kid, he had a 17.5 out of 18. He was like,
Point system, okay.
yeah, he was like, I was like, that's a 97, not bad. But what you miss is you left out your parentheses when you
Okay.
define what the terms mean.
So you review it the next day?
Yes.
So let me ask this question. All right, so when you are going over the I think it might have been, was it 10 questions on it maybe? I can't
Yes.
remember. But do you go over it to each kid specifically or as a whole discussion?
So we converse in a whole setting. We don't go, it depends on the material, but we don't go through the whole thing
Okay.
individually, but we go over the concept. So, hey, how many turns does it take? Like, we're not going to read a question, but I'm gonna ask a question. So it's, hey, this is number one, what is the answer? But more so, do we understand those points? Because some of the questions are the same question, just different ways. So if we can show that we understand it,
Okay.
it's the same thing. Like north is up, east is right, and so forth on. So if I ask those questions, I don't have to go through all 4 of them. Because I know if you got 3, you know what the 4th one is, and so forth.
Okay, so speaking of questions now, so when you ask questions, are you asking the questions in a whole group or specific to the kid? Let's say, for example, if I said, okay, somebody tell me, can you please tell me or explain how do I make Carol turn right or go north or whatever, however you want to phrase it? Are you saying, Johnny, can you please tell me this? Or are they just kind of raising their hands to respond to you?
So I ask it initially, sees who's want to ask, and sometimes 2 or 3 are said, and we'll go with that one. If it's a new person, they kind of get precedence of the floor, or if it's a stall out question, I give those. hey, think about this, or what can we think, and then call on your non-volunteers or people that look like they got it, just don't want to say it. So.
Okay. So how can you, okay, before I say that, do you find the same kids tend to answer, be more verbal than others are, is what I'm asking? You might have the same kid that likes to answer for you.
It honestly depends. And sometimes it's just what we're more confident in. You do have your students that's going to answer every time, all the time. But even in low participation levels, so to say, are the ones where it's not openly answered, it might be a different person. So this person, they're more confident in, hey, I know 3 left turns make a right. That answer that question every time. Or if I'm more confident in the punctuation side of things, they're going to answer every time. Or those students that just answer everything all the time, they're going to answer and it's gauged like that.
So have you thought about how to get the kids engaged or involved that don't usually respond or say anything?
So yesterday, really the last 2 days, we talked about food.
Food?
Yes. So I start with how many people can cook. And they go talk about the things they can cook. And I say, okay, well, if I say, hey, let's make me a sandwich, right? If I tell you that, you don't know what I want in my sandwich. But if I say, hey, get a slice of bread, add a peanut butter, add a jelly, add a bread, I gave you the instructions. So next time I say, hey, make me a sandwich, you know the order to follow, which is the same thing.
Okay,
I say, hey, this is how you turn right, turn left 3 times. I don't have to keep telling you turn left, turn left, turn left. I say, hey, make me a sandwich. You know the steps.
So you were relating something that they real life that they understood to how to code in the computer.
Yes.
Okay, I like that. I enjoy that. So my other question is this: so when you show the Carol video,
yes, sir.
What was the purpose of that video?
All right, that's a refresher. So the questions come directly from the video.
The questions in the exit ticket?
Yes. All our paper is literally a refresher. So we watch the videos beforehand. They have it at their discretion, and I always tell them that. And then when you answer your questions, it's directly from the video. And the video is actually a PowerPoint slide, just automated.
Because I'm saying what I wondered, when you show the video, and it wasn't long, it was long enough to keep their
3
attention,
minutes.
but you didn't comment on the video.
Because it literally just says what I said before I said. Like it's automated, the lesson is automated, condensed, and quick. So like when we did, I think one of the first things we did was went in a square and it types it for you. So when I exit out the video, the next assignment is that same type assignment.
Okay.
And that's for us to explore in and actually put our hands on it. So it shows it to you, you see it, hear it, and then you do it.
So let me ask this, and this is the question: would it be helpful, so when the kids watch the video, if you had one of the students to repeat or explain what they saw in the video?
It's a definitely yes, but also in the same setting, that's what we're doing. That's what they're doing individually on top of it. So, is touching the same thing again? Right. So, like I said, after the video played, I actually go through and touch on the same parts. We ask some questions, just refreshers of things that was talked about, and then they go hands-on. And if they have any question, it allows them to ask it in that setting.
Okay. And my thought process was, and I like that, I was thinking, so when the video is playing and the kids are supposed to be watching it, if you were to get one of them to tell you what they were looking at or what was stated, that would be one way to ensure that they were actually watching the video.
So the questions as well, like I said, is directly from the video. So
Don't
you
let
can't
it
answer.
ticket.
Yes, you can't answer the question without watching the video
So
because
they were supposed to be answering the questions
throughout. So
So I
again,
didn't get that. I didn't understand that. So when the video was playing, it was supposed to be answering the questions.
no. So because it's going to say, hey, Carol is a dog that lives in a grid world. The question is, what kind of world does Carol live in? Right? A grid world. Or Carol knows how many functions. So the 4 functions that Carol knows is move left. And then you have to go in. So it's going to take time to do it, but that's just your introduction. You're hearing the terminology. You're seeing what we're doing for the day. And then when you look at the questions, okay, I go back into the video, I pause it, I read through it, I understand it, break it down. And
So
then
can
do
the
it.
kids access the video too?
Yeah, so it's at their discretion. That's why I don't harp on the video while I play it, because they have it at their discretion. So I know they're going back in the video because you have to answer the questions with text dependent.
Okay. Because my thought was, how do you know
They watch the video?
that they're listening to, when you play the video and they're supposed to be watching it,
Yes.
how would you know they're actually watching it?
So, they have to answer the questions again with that supporting text. And then when we get into the actual exercises, as they say, oh, I don't understand, I go back to the video and I take them to the segment that they may have missed, or they haven't watched it at all. You're going to watch it, and then we can ask questions, get help. But your answers are already in the video, and if you need clarification or verification, then we can converse about it. But if we didn't watch the video at all,
You can't.
you're going back to square
Right,
one.
I got you.
So
I understand. So let me ask this. So if you were to do that lesson again, what, if anything, would you do differently?
More so making sure that everyone is in the right space, so to say. The access that I have to it is kind of limited. So making sure that everyone is on the same pace as everyone, which isn't the end of the world if there isn't, but you have to be able to get part 1 and 2 to succeed part 3, 4, 5. Like Monday, we're going to review and make sure everybody understands the capitalization, the outline, the syntax of everything before we get too deep in. Because if you fall by the wayside now, you're just gonna feel like a lost soul. So making sure everybody understands and we can move forward together. Again, not in the sense of a rush, but if you don't know who Carrie is at all,
Right.
I can't expect you to do this.
So how far ahead can the kids work?
They have full autonomy to go as far as they want. They don't know that, and I don't tell them and or encourage them.
And the reason I asked is the kids that were sitting here were doing something a little bit differently. And they said, we already finished this assignment already, so we got some downtime.
Yes, sir. So they're probably in 3-4, maybe 3-5.
Okay.
And again, like I said, I don't and won't tell them that, hey, everything is open throughout, because if they do it all,
Okay.
and then, like I said, they do ask questions. Hey, I don't understand this, and I'll give them a little bit of help, or I say, hey, we'll get to that in a few moments, and kind of stall it without indicating that they can complete everything up front.
Okay. All right. So this is what my suggestion would be. So in terms of what I thought was let's start with the improvement area first. Okay. The only thing I would have really talked about was the objective, making sure that you write it so that they know what it is and literally state it, okay? And I know you said that they understood what they were supposed to be doing.
Yes, sir.
But again, when you talk about that 4-point rubric, if you're doing a full evaluation, that's something that they're going to be looking for.
Yes, sir.
And looking to make sure that you're stated, that it's written, and that the students are being told exactly what the lessons objectives for that day is, because the person that's going to observe you is going to come in, whether it's me or Mr. Whoever it is.
Yes, sir.
They're going to get in before the bell rings. So they can see the very beginning of your lesson and probably the very end of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so make sure you do that. And then the questioning and student engagement. So I know they were engaged because they might be quiet and they would start answering your questions.
Yes,
You know what I'm
sir.
saying? But what I would suggest also is asking specific students questions. Some are quiet.
Yes, sir.
Like this little fella right here was doing something different too. I said, what are you doing? And he said, whatever it was. And then I told him, I said, okay, well, make sure that you are here. But when it was time for the exit ticket, he had it out because
Yes,
I knew
sir.
he had one. That's what he was doing then. So just really asking specific questions of certain students to get them talking with you, and then the questioning, like I said a minute ago. And so my other question is this. Now that I'm thinking about, so do the kids work together at all, or are they working completely independently?
It's a mixture of both. So, like the two over here, they usually work together. And when we get further, again, once everybody understands your errors and your retests, you'll say, hey, well, I'm going to do the coding and you're going to do the, let's say, peer review, making sure everything is flowing, identifying the problem areas, and we're tackling the task together instead of independent.
Okay. All right. So in terms of strengths, I thought, one, I would say definitely classroom management. I think the kids were on task for the most part. They weren't doing anything that they shouldn't have been doing. And then I liked the exit ticket.
Yes, sir.
I did like the exit ticket. And because that's a way, and now that I realized that we're talking about it, that was a way of making sure that they were working throughout the lesson, so that when they left, this is what you're going to give them when you leave.
Yes, sir.
And then I think the technology that is engaging for kids. That's one of the things. We know they like computers. We know they like to do social media, etc. But I think because it's coding and can be useful for different types of jobs, etc.
Yes, sir.
I think that was a good thing too. So what would you have said was an area of strength and or improvement?
But mainly, the best thing is having everybody, like you said, on task, or at least not disruptive. Right. So if you, let's say, having a bad day, that's fine, but we're not going to start pulling distractions to other people.
Right.
Because like I had one today was kind of not mouthy, but it was little minimum noise, and I said, hey, come stand right here right now, and it kind of leveled down.
Okay.
So if everybody is nice, quiet, working, it takes away from this one person doing it, whereas if 3-4 people doing it, okay, it's easier for me to blend in with that crowd. So make sure everybody's on task, not disruptive, always asking, hey, does anybody need help? Because that gets people to ask questions when they need help, especially if the one, let's say, who always answer questions, say, hey, coach, I need help, or can you go back through this? Now they're more willing to pull, say, hey, I need assistance with this, or hey, can you go back through this? So.
Okay. All right. So, and do you have any questions for me?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So remember, so you've got in the next week or two observations that are full observations. This was a walkthrough. So how can I support you prior to those observations?
Do you have a checklist?
So basically, it's the 4.0 rubric, and we can sit down and walk through that.
I just need it.
Okay.
I just need a hard copy of it.
Okay, I
I
can
can manage and plan from there.
Alrighty. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
And if you need anything, let me know.
Alrighty.
Okay.